In this video for AVT 482, we are going to talk about the failure of leadership and ethics leading up to the 1994 Fairchild Air Show on May 24, 1994. Out of all the crashes in air show history, the 1994 Fairchild Air Force show might have the most significance in exposing leadership and ethical issues behind the scenes. In this video, we hope to detail that the cause of the crash was by unethical and rash decisions made by Arthur Bud Holland and the leadership above him who were unwilling to act on his unethical behavior. Lieutenant Colonel Bud Holland was a B-52 pilot for the 325th Bomb Squadron located at Fairchild Air Force Base. I would like to start this video with some quotes by some of Bud Holland's fellow airmen. There was already some talk of maybe trying some other ridiculous maneuvers. His lifetime goal was to roll the B-52. I was thinking that he was going to try something, again, ridiculous maybe, at this air show and possibly kill thousands of people. I'm not going to fly with him. I think he's dangerous. He's gonna kill somebody someday, and it's not gonna be me. Colonel Holland made a joke out of it when I said I would not fly with him. He came to me repeatedly after and said, "Hey, we're going flying, Mickey. You wanna come with us?" And every time I would just smile and say, "No, I'm not gonna fly with you." Lieutenant Colonel Holland broke the regulations or exceeded the limits virtually every time he flew. These are just some of the quotes gathered by Tony Kern in his book, Darker Shades of Blue, a case study of failed leadership. Our story begins at the 1991 Fairchild Air Show on May 19th. Lieutenant Colonel Holland was the pilot in command during the air show. He was flying a B-52H model. Holland was feeling daring at the time and exceeded the bank and pitch limits, and also flew over the crowd, violating many regulations and airshow regulations. He also violated altitude restrictions, as he was flying so low to the ground. After this event, no one seemed to want to speak up about the violations, and the wing staff did nothing in result. This is what could have caused the allowing of the slippery slope or incrementalism of unethical behavior by Holland to begin. The second incident in which Holland showed his unethical behavior was during a change of command ceremony in July of 1991. During practice before the ceremony, Lieutenant Colonel Holland flew over the stadium at about 100 to 200 feet above the ground. After breaking that altitude regulation, he proceeded to also break the pitch and roll regulations as he pitched out of the low-level flight and into a turn. After this, he also performed a wingover, which is a maneuver in which a pilot rolls the aircraft onto its side and allows the nose to fall and regain speed. This was met with a verbal reprimanding from the Assistant Deputy Operations Group Commander, which essentially told him that he was setting a bad example for the younger airmen. Beyond this, no punishment was given. The third event was the 1992 Fairchild Air Show. This is where Holland would become no stranger to violating regulations at Fairchild Air Shows, where he proceeded to fly beyond regulations again, the entire profile, putting everyone, including the people on the ground, at risk. This was allowed to happen because the Assistant Deputy Commander for Operations had a family emergency and could not be there at the briefing, planning, or execution of the airshow. The Deputy Commander for Operations did not partake in any planning because it was not in his purview. A folder of the violations was made, but no documentation of the reprimand or counseling was formed. The fourth event was the Global Power Mission on April 14th and 15th of 1993. Here, Holland was tasked with his team to take a video and pictures of another B-52 who was to drop its armaments. While doing this, Holland proceeded to fly far closer than the regulations allow with the other B-52. When asked about it, Holland stated that General Richards instructed him to do whatever was needed to get good pictures. This led into several troubling leadership testimonies, with what appears to be a crew member stating that one of the squadron commanders attempted to coerce him into taking a job as wing scheduler by using the videotape as blackmail. And when the DO was made aware of the presence and potentially incriminating video, he responded, "Okay, I don't want to know anything about the video. I don't care." The fifth event was at the Fairchild Air Show on August 8th of 1993. This airshow profile included extremely steep turns of well over 45 degrees of bank, a low altitude pass, and a high-pitch maneuver in which one crew member even estimated to be over 80 degrees of nose high, which is just 10 degrees from completely vertical. Each of these maneuvers clearly exceeded technical order guidances. The interesting fact about this case is that Holland's crew members had become so desensitized by his constant rule breaking that none of them even thought twice about what had happened. Because of this, there was no disciplinary action taken at any level of command. The sixth event was at the Yakima bombing range. Here, Lieutenant Colonel Holland was dropping practice bombs for a photographer on a nearby ridge. Following one of the bombing runs, Lieutenant Colonel Holland thought it would be funny to fly as low as he could in front of the photographer. In the end, he crossed over and was photographed at what seemed to be between 3 and 30 feet. Another photographer that was away from the one that was almost hit had stopped filming because they thought that they were going to impact and that they were ducking out of the way. The accounts from inside the cockpit are all the same. Everyone was screaming, "Climb, climb, climb." The co-pilot even grabbed the yoke and forced the plane up because Holland seemed to be wanting to drive everyone into the side of the cliff. After this event, everyone on board vowed that they would never fly with him again. The staff at the squadron level began to take action when Captain Jones reported the event to Major Thompson, the squadron ops officer. Major Thompson had also already seen the videotape taken from the ground during the photography session, which is seen here. Because he was friends with Bud Holland, Thompson had immediately called Mark McGeehan. They agreed together that something needed to be done, but what needed to be done seemed to hurt them both. Instead of stripping Holland of his wings, they decided to restrict Holland's flying. At this point, McGeehan had made the decision to restrict his flying to only flying with him. Holland, from then on, was not allowed to fly if McGeehan was not in the cockpit with him. He was true to his word. This is where we should probably talk about the climate within the command of the Fairchild Air Force Base. Tensions were running high between everyone in the final moments of 1994. Not even the wives or the children were left out of the drama, as everyone was taking sides between McGeehan and Holland. There was lots of distrust and hostility towards people who were on the opposite side of the argument. Lots of people thought Holland was an amazing pilot, while others thought he was crazy. In the end, most people saw Holland as Mr. Airshow. This would lead everyone to watch the airshow practice on June 17th of 1994. This practice was typical for Holland, breaking many regulations and not really caring. One of the deputies of operations even said that the profile looked good and it was very safe, clearly lying, but was later stated saying he was going to be fine because he's done it before. Some of the nurse managers and emergency services personnel were sitting into the planning sessions. Two of them were quoted saying, "He's effed," and I just hope he crashes on Friday, not Sunday, so I will not have so many bodies to pick up. These words did return to haunt them. In the end, this was a true failure of leadership, decision-making, and ethics. If better leadership was displayed and a more ethical decision-making process was in place, this might have never happened.